Welcome to the Featured Anime Podcast. I'm your host, Jack.
And I'm Rick.
And today we are talking about DNA², which is very much time travel intensive.
Mm-hmm. Finally, my anime with time traveling grandkids. Sorry.
No. Great-grandchildren, sir. Great-grandchildren. All right.
They count. They count.
But before all that, we were talking about how our week's been in general going on, where you can go to find a list of all the recommended shows that we have, the list that we're going through, and the episode numbers that you can actually find them for. If you want to catch a part of that wider conversation, patreon.com/featured anime podcast. $1 a month will get you access to that bonus content. And if you choose to support us through other means, we do have affiliate links for you in the show notes. Clicking on those links and then buying something from the from that store, Right Stuff Anime, will give us a little bit of a kickback, and it is very much appreciated. Or you can buy some of our own swag, shop.featuredanimepodcast.com. And now, onto the meat and potatoes. DNA² came out in two different parts. So it was 15 episodes long if you combine the 3 OVA episodes with the series. The series itself was 12 episodes long. It aired from October 1994 through December 1994. Starchild Records, Movic, Nippon Television for the producers, Madhouse, and Studio Deen also both worked on the anime as well. Genres for this one are comedy, romance, sci-fi, time travel, shounen, and it's based off of a manga. And for the 3 OVAs, only Bandai Visual and Movic were producers for it. Studio for it was just Madhouse. The 3 episodes aired between February 1995 through June 1995, and it's based off of a manga. And the genres for it are comedy, sci-fi, shounen, and time traveling great-granddaughters. It was only 3 episodes, in case you didn't get that.
Yeah, the OVAs technically.
Yes.
In theory, the you get everything you're going to need to know in the first, 1 through 12, but the last 13, 14, and 15, I was freaking out because I thought they were part of the original thing. And then when I asked you if you had seen the OVAs, and you're like, yeah, totally. I'm like, crap. Okay, maybe not now. And you're like, well, no. How many did you watch? Like 15. You're like, no, you saw them too. Like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I knew I kind of figured that you were worried about that. I was like, no, you're totally good, man. It's all good. It's all right. Okay.
Oh man. So
but by all means, please knock your socks off.
So the reason I chose this one, well, I don't know if I chose it. I might have been a little bit against it.
You were against it, but you did not talk about it in the primary show. You only talked about it in the post show. So if you want to catch a part of that conversation and hear his very vocal stance against DNA² on why he felt like we shouldn't have watched it, you can actually go to our Patreon feed, patreon.com/featured anime podcast, and listen to that episode. And it is the post show, and it is very endearing, I want to say. Endearing. Poor Rick.
I'd have said vocal, but neither here nor there.
I mean, you had a couple of people trying to tell you were wrong, and you're like, no.
Oh yeah, no. I felt I was very right. Like I'm not right about many things.
How do you feel now, sir? How do you feel now?
I'm having microphone issues, man. I can't hear what you just said. Would you mind?
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I might have been wrong.
Might have. I don't think might have is strong enough a word. All right, might have is not a strong enough word.
I'm just saying, my stance was I thought it was not family friendly due to my experiences with a game of the same name. Well, actually, no, I looked it up. Not the same name.
It kind of. It's based off the same premise.
Correct, but
they take a different approach to it. However, that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about DNA², in which Karen?
Yep, Karine, but Karen.
Karine? Spelled Karen? It's Karen.
Yep, spelled Karen. The English version pronounced it as Karen.
It's Karen. DNA by the DNA operator from the future, hence our time traveling. It's on a mission to change the course of history of Japan by stopping Junta from being a mega playboy who fathered 100 children. I have a story for you in the post show that reminds me of someone I know.
Oh,
I will.
oh no!
I will tell you. All right. So remind me later. Father 100 children led to the overpopulation of the world.
Well, see, that's so frustrating.
Hang on. But Junta is no playboy. He's got an allergy to girls, which causes him to eat. If he looks at, simulates, or anything that resembles a naked body, homeboy starts vomiting. Just like a lot. Yeah. And then on top of it, Karen shoots him with the wrong DNA altering bullet, which then helps him start becoming the mega playboy, capable of charming any woman that's out there. He can just look at them, flutter his eyelashes, and they swoon and fall in love with him. And
even from afar.
What I find really interesting, what I find really unique is that the show, how do I say it? How do I say this? They take that literally in one point where one of the main characters on there, or side characters actually, Ryuji, says very early in like episode 2 or 1, he's like, it's my DNA, babe. It's totally my DNA. It speaks to you on a fundamental level. And that's why all these women want me. It's because of my DNA. And he acts as if he's God's gift to women. And Junta is just like this poor little boy before getting shot with a Super Saiyan bullet. Can't help but throw up every time he sees a woman. Naked, mostly naked, kind of naked, in lingerie, in spandex.
So here's my frustration, and here's my biggest with this show. Do you want to know what's overpopulation to them? 12,000 people.
But they don't go into details for that until like the end. They never give you a hard number until the end.
Until the end, yeah.
You can't help but go, is weird?
Well, no, it doesn't make sense.
Well, what doesn't make sense here? Look, they're traveling back in time, and this is a problem that I've always had, right? And I'll get into it later on. Let's talk about the show. Let's talk about the wonderful time traveling plot armor that happens here. Let's talk about how Junta goes mega playboy sporadically, aka Super Saiyan, and then magically has these fighting powers and strength, because that's exactly what happens.
Magic. It's not magic.
It's magic.
It's not magic. It's the power of the DNA.
It's the power of plot.
Well, I mean, yes, but allow me to express my distaste and have a valid reason why Karen shot him correctly. They have a fundamental problem with their mathematical prowess. Here's why.
Hang on.
Much later on, remember,
Say that again. You have a reason, you have a very strong reason as to why she accidentally shot him with the wrong bullet? Okay.
Yes.
I mean, aside from the very blatant reason that they stated?
Yes.
Okay. Proceed.
So the reason why that she, 1, took the wrong bullet, 2, didn't care that it was the wrong bullet and still shot him. And 3,
No. You can't say that.
Yeah.
She didn't care it was the wrong bullet. She thought it was the right bullet and didn't know that she shot him with the wrong bullet until after she had shot him with the wrong bullet.
That's fair. And here's why. They have a fundamental problem with math. And if you have a fundamental problem with math and you're given that kind of responsibility, there's an issue. Like, they don't care. Okay. And here's why. Think about it like this. They said that the mega playboy is going to have 100 kids, and all 100 of his kids are going to have another 100 kids each.
Okay.
And yet somehow at the end, it's only 12,000.
Hang on. That's not making an argument as to why they're Why she accidentally shot him with the wrong bullet? That's not.
It's roundabout.
No.
I'll explain.
You can't. That is fundamentally impossible. Okay.
I'll explain.
Plot. Thank you. We already knew that. We already knew it.
No. I mean, yes, plot because everything's plot. But
okay.
So he had 100 kids. Every 100 kids had 100 kids, right? That's only 10,000. That's not 100. That's not 12,000.
Hang on.
So
we're halfway through the cycle, so not all of them are old enough yet to have other kids. You have to give them time, okay? They're only in the third generation. The third generation isn't done popping out kids, or the second generation's not done popping out kids.
Great, right? Great, or was it great? Was it great or great grandkid?
Just one.
So it was only great.
Yes.
Okay. So that means he should have about 10,000 grandkids, and then if you take 10,000 times 100, you're looking at what's that? 100,000?
Yeah, but they're not done populating the earth. They're not done. We don't know at what
somehow
point.
They're overpopulating in their time.
That's not the point. Look.
If you had that,
okay.
If they have an issue with math to that degree, who knows when they finally got the color scheme right?
Circumstances of the world, they only keep track of those 12, 13, 14,000 kids. All right, they're only keeping track of those ones. Okay. Who
only
knows
the ones with the
how
mega
many
DNA.
They don't know how many are there, but that does not mean that they have an issue that they don't care that they shot him. They care.
Well, no, but here's where my argument takes root, if you will.
Okay.
So you know how
just keep in mind, people, when I said we would talk about the story, Rick would go on a rant about something completely irrelevant. Hang on. All right. Proceed.
This is why she took the wrong bullet. She took the wrong bullet because they're like the third one on the right. And so she's like, 1, 2, this is good enough. And she took the wrong bullet. And she assumed it was the correct one. So she fired it off.
Wrong. They even said she knew the right one to take and she marked it red. She was just absent-minded and took the wrong one by mistake. Had nothing to do with math.
She counted the wrong one.
She counted the wrong one. She didn't need to count it. She had a red band on it. You're going for the math.
Bullet she fired with was without a red band.
Exactly.
So she didn't care. If you care about your job, you'll pay attention.
You care about a lot of things. I mean, like if that, you know what, sir, I could say the same for you. If you really cared, you would have not read the synopsis that one time.
I cared about being on time for you. So I did what I could.
She cared about trying to make the world a better place. She tried to make the world a better place. So there you go.
See, she messed up and so did I. I got us our one bad review.
There you go. All right. So.
But yeah. So she does shoot him and he does turn into the Super Saiyan Mega Playboy. And they're very keen on the first 3 episodes to specifically refer to DNA as being so important that it calls to people regardless of distance. Anything. I would say like
anything, regardless of anything.
Like so long as, and then she's such a bad shot. She shoots DNA Boy, the one, the real, what I assumed Playboy, with another bullet, the one that was supposedly the correct one. And then I laughed my butt off when he turned into a girl. I'm not gonna lie, I was laughing.
Right. Okay, yeah, man, that took a weird spin. Like randomly, we were like talking about in the beginning, and then you're like, when Ryuji got shot by the bullet without saying Ryuji.
Yeah, like wasn't that episode 4?
No, it wasn't. I was like episode 9, 10, 9.
Oh, geez, it was that long.
Yes, like that did not happen till like.
I have their mathematical skill. I don't know what you want to say. Like I'm just. Oh man,
yeah,
no,
yeah.
I mean, it's.
I pulled up the episode list. Yeah, episode 9 is when it happened.
Oh, well,
and
I got nothing for that.
So okay,
it all merges into one story for me.
Right. So with the show having that overall premise, Karen spends a majority of her time following Junta around, hanging out with him and everything like that, trying to prevent him from becoming the mega playboy. So that way she gets her money and the world is saved from quote unquote overpopulation, which Who knows what the actual circumstances are in the future for them to warrant that. But you know that she starts falling in love. And she even realizes it. And she has to fight and struggle with preventing herself from falling in love. Then actually falling in love with Junta. So she, in effect, fell in love with the guy she wasn't supposed to fall in love with.
Well, absolutely. The DNA was calling to her.
Obviously.
No, there was so many twists and turns in the first, I want to say 4 or 5 episodes. And I loved every second of it. I hate to say it. I hate myself for it because it felt very home-like. And what I mean by that is like it had a Pokemon-esque soundtrack in the very beginning and Legend of Zelda writing. And I'm like, you know what? This is very reminiscent of me growing up. Like these shows I'd watch, like Zoids and whatnot, would have quirky stuff and some of the voice actors. Because I watched both subbed and dubbed. I hate to say it, I prefer the dubbed, mainly just because I recognized the voice characters, and it was just pleasant. The story sucked. I want to point that out right now. Like it doesn't make any sense, but it's not supposed to.
The story is all about being a mega playboy. Why they call I get why they called him a mega playboy, and that at least every episode at least said it 4 or 5 times minimum. It was like contractually obligated to say mega playboy multiple times. And
they were paid by the word.
Yeah. And the reason why we say it's like he becomes Super Saiyan, super everything is because he goes through this physical transformation, like light starts going, electricity starts shooting everywhere. His whole demeanor and biology, everything's changes. His voice changes, his mentality changes, and he immediately becomes a very smooth talker. And it's like goes from hey to hey baby, how you doing?
Yeah.
And that's it. It's like, all right. And when he goes like that, the panties start coming off, people start falling in love, and everyone just wants to be with him. He doesn't even have to do anything other than just say, hey, to charm the people. Now, Karen's goal, her objective for this series is to make sure, one, he doesn't become the playboy. And there are certain women that are around him kind of bring forward that gene, bring it out in him.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's one, Ami, his best friend growing up, fought against him for it. She doesn't like it when he's the mega playboy. He's actually very grounded when he's with her, and he actually isn't allergic to her. So, I mean, why he's trying to go after everyone else other than the person that doesn't make him sick is beyond me. But, hey, what do I know?
Well, I mean, it made me think that they were like meant to be, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
So like, I just assumed everything was awesome.
Yes.
Like I just assumed as far as they're concerned, I figured like they were meant to be, but he gets shot and turned into the mega playboy and goes after the belle of the ball, so to speak.
You also find out that one of Ami's friend is, because of his DNA altering Super Saiyan changes, she falls in love with him. Except her problem is she passes gas whenever she gets nervous or anything like that around boys. And so Katomi, who's Ami's best friend, falls in love with Junta because of his mega playboy status, obviously. And she starts passing gas in these really awkward, inopportune moments. And then they spend didn't they spend like almost 2 episodes, or at least it felt like 2 episodes worth of them trying to help get over their sickness, their illness, their disease, as they like to call it.
Mm-hmm. It felt like a problem that wasn't a problem. You know what I mean?
Vaguely?
It felt like they were creating problems, specifically in that general vicinity. I want to say I don't have an appropriate way to explain what I'm trying to say, unfortunately. But like the flatulence,
right?
Like her flatulence issue wasn't so much as her being around boys. It happens. It's when she's on like performing and in front of people and she gets nervous and stomach aches and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah. And they do specifically state stomach aches and tummy trouble and things like that. So one of the things that I honestly have a problem with, right? Because, this show is just so deep in substance. So very.
It's because it is. It's just
very deep in thought and very thought provoking. Okay.
It can be.
Maybe not. But
probably not.
Probably not. But one of the issues here's honestly, and I have a lot of problems with this show. I have a lot of problems with this show. One of it being the time traveling aspect of it. So they travel back in time to try and fix something. The second it's fixed, that timeline that they are affecting would be the fixed timeline. So it's not going to affect their timeline. And even if it did affect their timeline, the reason for them traveling back in time after it was done would cease to exist. So them being there would immediately arouse suspicion of them being there. They were like, oh, I shot him. Interesting. Obviously, it didn't fix it. What's going on? Because I'm still here.
Well, would you want to go back in time only to be like, I'm going to make it to where I don't exist anymore?
That's the thing, right? They're not going back in time to make it where they go. They're not going to exist anymore. They're not traveling back in time to fix the one thing that they went back in time to do. That whole line of process, the whole reasoning behind it, the whole purpose behind it would immediately cease to exist. There would be no reason for them to travel back in time to prevent him from being the mega playboy, because even if they went back in time to prevent him from being the mega playboy, even if it affects their timeline, the show would have immediately ended had they been successful after one episode. And even if they did succeed, they're not going to notice it in their timeline. Their timeline's still going to have that overpopulation issue.
So you're marveling at creating other timelines and whatnot.
No, I'm saying that the reason why they went back in time is irrelevant. It's like they're going back to try and fix this one issue. Regardless, no matter what, if they go back in time and they fix the issue, cool. Then they're going to cease for that whole moment. If they go back in time, the parallel timeline will be fixed, but their timeline's not going to be fixed. So it's kind of irrelevant for them to still go back in time and try and fix it, because they're not going to see the effects of it.
Then what would be the point?
Exactly.
What would be the point?
Exactly.
Exactly.
What's the point? What's the point of it? They're either going to go back and they'll immediately fix it, and the show was going to be kaput. Would have been an easy fix, right? Or they're affecting someone else's timeline. Now, if they're going back and they're like, I totally want to go back and affect my own timeline, and they're expecting to, disappear and no longer be there, the second she shot him just speaks to the level of ineptness, like bringing in the wrong bullet that was clearly marked. Okay. Should have been a clear indicator. I shot him with the bullet. Oh, I'm still here. What's going on? Interesting. Would have been clue number one. I wouldn't have even gotten up and walked away. They're like, DNA altercation didn't work. Snap. Just gone brutal at that point. Kill him.
Well, here's the thing too. What happens if she would have trusted her gut and not shot him? He'd have never turned.
We don't know that.
You don't think?
For all we know, the bullet that she shot him with helped along the awakening process.
Okay.
I mean,
I guess I can see that.
That's a plausibility. I'm not saying it's fact. I'm not saying it's actuality. I'm just saying it's possible.
Well, okay. I might follow with that train of thought, but going back to they suck at math. The computer that they had that she would always reference and always go back to was always saying like his chance of being, after she shot him, chance of being the Playboy went from 130% down to 120% certainty. How is it over 100%? Is it maybe like what you said, where it goes on multiple timelines?
Possible.
Possible, but not probable.
Right.
And the funniest thing to me is like the stupidest things were inhibiting their advancement. Like, we don't have the funding to send something else back in time.
we only had enough funding to make one version of this bullet. It's like, you could totally fund and pay for time travel back and forth. You can't pay for a bullet?
Hey, all I know is you've got time travel, right? Make investments, send money back. Oh my God, I got so much money now.
I mean, I feel like the show was kind of ridiculous. It was
absolutely.
It was ridiculous, and it was simplistic in its thoughts. It was kind of a downer.
Really?
In how simplistic it was, and you know, I had hoped for so much more, but given the name, obviously, I was very gravely mistaken.
You had hope for more.
I had hope
after the rant I did. Oh dear Lord, the after show special we had last time, and you had hope about this one?
No, I mean, I had hope that there would be, I don't know, it would be more entertaining than what it was.
Yeah, a little bit more than a stomach bug.
Right. This show, the show, honestly, even for the cutscenes, I mean, like, it gives you the feel or the preconception that it's going to be a very action-packed style show, or like it should be a very action-packed show, or something far better than what we got, but it ended up not. It was very, very tame. It was very, in the animation, honestly, it did not age well. There's shows,
absolutely not.
There are some shows that I go back and I'll watch it, and man, they aged beautifully. Like, they are still just as great today as they were then. Like, take Akira.
Dude, one of the best movies ever.
Came out before this, and it's had far better animation.
Yeah, but by far, like, they changed the game with Akira. It's in my top 10, regardless. I love it. With the way that the brain works and with the way the show is, this could have been so much better. You're right, because that was already out. I still think that it was cute and campy. I think it was very, I don't know, not cultish. That's not the right word, but it wasn't. I don't have a really good way to put it. It wasn't what we wanted. It wasn't what we were hoping for.
I don't know, man. I don't have I don't have too much. Honestly, I can say on this whole thing was just kind of, it was whatever, man. And then you, at least for the OVAs, we finally got our time traveling great-granddaughter. You know, they had that going on. So
no, hold on. Before the OVAs, we had a lot of questions. The OVAs were amazing for filling in those "you can't be that dumb" questions. Like the reason she pulled that bullet, OVAs solved it. OVAs answered that it was intentional rather than not. At least I thought they did.
No, they didn't. In fact, the bullet, she didn't pull the bullet because she wanted to pull the wrong bullet. She pulled the wrong bullet because she pulled the wrong bullet. The red bullet that was supposed to, quote unquote, fix the problem, fix his Mega Playboy problem, was supposed to lock in his Mega Playboy gene, not get rid of it. And then on top of that, make him controllable through a specific frequency. So it didn't fix or solve that issue. It just took it a different direction completely. And then they had another bullet that they, quote unquote, did not have the funding for to make originally.
They had another 3.
And shot him. So.
Yeah, they had another 3. It was nuts. And then they didn't have the funding to send anybody back, but all of a sudden they had enough funding to send 15 extra people back with machine guns, clothing, and all the accessories.
Yep. Everything else. Yeah, so it just made it worse for me, honestly. It's like, wait a minute. Hang on 1 second. She goes back in time. And then the last episode too, right? Here's the other problem with it. So they barely were able to scrounge up enough funding in the series to send back the bullet, just the bullet, right? Mm-hmm. She shoots Ryuji with it, who then ends up getting the shape-shifting powers, who's then able to absorb DNA and becomes this super villain that is mega tanned at the exact same time, who's able to assimilate DNA sequences into his own by becoming superhuman.
Mm-hmm.
Which, okay, that's cool.
I gotta say, All I got to say about that is he became my favorite character. Yeah, he was a villain. I'll give you that. But he understood what his ability could do. He goes, God's given me this gift. I'm going to use it. And he goes to all of his minions and goes, you got some nice DNA. I'm going to pick and choose. I'm going to CRISPR what I want and absorb it to myself.
Yeah.
And so he was stronger, faster. He's like, oh, I like your fighting style. Give it to me. I was like, he's fighting all for one, or one for all. Yeah, one for all.
Well, it's not that he's picking and choosing. He's just straight up taking the DNA.
But he's not taking their weaknesses. He's only taking their strengths, which led me to believe that he was...
It wasn't even a matter of him having to take their weaknesses. Like, in general, he's just taking their DNA. Like, he was just taking everyone's DNA and assimilating it, because when he takes it, he gets stronger. Mm-hmm. Like, in general, it doesn't matter. It could be a child on the street, assimilate their DNA. I am now stronger. But it backfires because he takes too much DNA. And when he took too much DNA, he ended up, his body wasn't able to handle it and went out of control.
I thought it went out of control because he ended up fighting the Mega Playboy, and the Mega Playboy overloaded him.
No, they had, Karen said, his body's not able to handle that much DNA. He had assimilated too much.
Oh, okay. I missed that part. Because I saw him in the hospital, and all of a sudden, when the evil doctor shows up, he's like, boom, boom, boom. Oh, look.
He's like,
congratulations.
What?
He's now perfectly fine.
He's like, bup. What?
Yeah, boom, boom, boom.
What does that mean? What does that mean, though? What does it mean?
It's his remote control activating.
Okay, so what you mean to say is the evil doctor shows up with a remote control, and then he pushes a button that sends out this frequency that controls Ryuji, because Ryuji was shot. Was shot with the DNA bullet that was originally created to get shot into Junta.
Look, man, I haven't absorbed the talking DNA yet.
Bump is, all right? No one knows what bump is. Everyone knows what a description is, but as far as a bump, no one knows what the hell that is. Only you know what the hell that is. I didn't even know what you were talking about until I had you do it again. Bump. Yeah, that's a great description, bro.
It's an onomatopoeia. I remember that.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. Like, it was okay. He was my favorite character. He might have gotten burnt out.
Right. Okay.
Failed way too early.
Obviously.
Yeah. I was thinking like he could go to some kid and be like, you have cancer fighting cells. No longer get cancer. I figured that second shot.
What?
Oh yeah, no. This is my impression. I thought he was picking and choosing what DNA he was getting. You obviously debunked that, unfortunately, but my whole thought process was he's able to pick and choose which DNA. So he's got stronger muscles. He's got different fighting techniques. He sees somebody on the side of the road and he's like, you have cancer fighting stuff. So I'm going to absorb that portion of the DNA. How would he even know
that? Like, how did he go up with a questionnaire?
How does any of this happen?
How does
any of this happen?
He went up and was like, hey, bro, did you fill out this questionnaire? Do you have cancer fighting cells in your body? And you're like, yeah, totally. He goes, here you go. He's like, all right, cool. I'm going to absorb your DNA now. Let's go around this back alley, big boy.
No. It goes better than that. Because this is going to hit a dark spot. He goes to the Make-A-Wish Foundation. He finds out which kids are fighting it. He goes, really? Yes.
Dude, that's messed up, man. That's not funny. That's just messed up.
It's kind of funny.
That's messed up. Why would you do that?
Oh, but like you ask how he finds out. Like,
my way was fun. Your way was like, let's literally
scientific.
Go up. Yeah, your way was like, let's go to dying people and jack their lives.
No. Find out the ones that beat cancer.
What do you think happened to all those people?
According to one comedian I was talking to.
No, I'm not talking about those people. I'm talking about the one he absorbed the DNA from.
Did he steal it or did he copy it?
He probably did a mixture of both.
Oh, then yeah, my way doesn't really work all that well. But I still like it.
All right, sir. I honestly don't have too much more I could say on this, man. What about you?
Sadly, not so much. They turned it into a dating sim, but beyond that, I got nothing.
So on a scale of up to 10? How would you rate
obviously this? A 10. Come on now.
Okay, well there you go. I'm going to obviously go lower.
Yeah, no shit. Let's see. Are we talking about if it stood with the test of time or no?
How would you rate the show, sir? Just in general, how would you rate the show? Period.
I'm gonna have to give it a 4. Like, it's not something I would want to watch again. It's not something I'd want to show somebody else. It's definitely not something I'd want to be in public when somebody else is near me while I watch it, because of the suggestive sounds that every character seems to make.
Okay.
But like, with that said, the reason it's not a 0 is it had some nostalgic value to me. It pulled from a few other animes and games, like I said, Legend of Zelda and some Pokemon sounds. Like, it was campy, was minorly nostalgic due to external factors. Like, if I didn't ever know about those other things, it would be a much lower score. And there's so many plot holes. I am happy that they finished with the OVAs. They closed up some of them, but they left some other answers, some other questions. Yeah, 4. Ooh,
2. Didn't enjoy it. I thought it was ridiculous. Didn't enjoy the show. Didn't enjoy the story. Didn't enjoy the animation. Didn't enjoy the music. It was not nostalgic for me at all. In fact, it felt painstakingly long, and it was only 15 episodes.
Painstakingly, he says.
Yeah. Every episode felt like 3, and I would actually pause it 5 minutes into it and go, oh my God, I still have almost 20 minutes left still. I'm only through the opening scene and credits.
Yeah, they weren't too adept at time management. They probably could have cinched everything together with just like 6 episodes.
All right. So next week,
we're
watching a movie that you chose. That's actually a recommendation.
I did.
From Angel.
Yes.
And it's called JuJutsu Kaisen 0 movie.
I believe so.
So that's what we're watching. I'm pretty sure it's going to be a nice change of pace. It's actually something relatively fairly new. So I'm looking forward to it. I haven't seen the series, and I'm told that this is a prequel, so even more so.
The series is really good. I think we're going to like this.
Okay. I will take your word on that. You feel like we got something right, something wrong, did it too much justice, not enough justice, or anything like that, feel free to reach out to us. All our contact information is available to you in the show notes, or you can go to featuredanimepodcast.com. We have links to everything, including our Patreon on there. If you want to hear the pre and post show that we usually do, including last week's post show where Rick strongly tried to dissuade us from watching this week's choice, patreon.com/featuredanimepodcast. If you want to buy yourself the show that we actually talked about today, I don't know why you would, but hey, you may want to, just in case. You can go to the affiliate link that we have in our show notes. It'll take you to Bright Stuff Anime. Anything that you purchase using that link will give us a little bit of a kickback, and it is very much appreciated. Or you can buy some of the swanky swag that we have on our own shop, shop.featuredanimepodcast.com. And until next time, I'm Jack.
I'm Rick. And we'll see you next time.